All right, what's going on? So I want to share a story that I had recently with a prospect that is now a client that I was able to onboard because it wasn't the ideal situation, right? I mean, he showed up and he was driving, right? And we all know that when a prospect is driving, it's kind of hard to make that into a sale, or it could be hard if you're not skilled and you don't know what you're doing to make that into a sale, right? Now, I've had people that I've had on calls. I had one guy that was on a treadmill and he took the call while he was getting his steps in. And it's sometimes like I think with people, you kind of got to meet them where they're at. At least that's how I am, because people have busy lives, right? And so if somebody's doing something, right, and you didn't say anything about the call where they needed to be sitting down and be situated, if they show up and they're driving and whatnot, like, you kind of got to work with it to a degree. At least has been my experience, because that call with the guy that was on a treadmill, that could have been a lost deal had I said, hey, just reschedule it another time. Maybe, maybe not, right? But the thing I do know is that he was fully locked in on that call, which was cool. Was he had his blood flowing, right? So he was, in his head. I know sometimes we have the best ideas come to us while we're on walks. So, maybe that played a bit into the sale. But the guy I had recently, he was driving, and he wasn't just driving anything. He was driving a 18-wheeler, a semi-truck. Okay. Now, I used to drive a semi-truck. I've been in the trucking industry, and I know how hectic it is. I mean, you're working 60 hours a week. You're barely home. You're always driving. The time that you do have off is just, you got to make a quick stop. You got to be in and out. Otherwise, dispatch might get on you and start, hey, what are you doing? We seen you. Like, there's so many things that go into play. And so for this guy, like trying to get him where he's on a computer or a laptop situated, sitting down, was probably not going to be, the most ideal thing. And obviously he gets his rest at night. I'm not taking no sales calls at 10 p.m., right? At 11 p.m. That's my bedtime. So the big thing here was kind of meeting him where he's at. Now, thankfully, I do have experience with being a truck driver, so I already kind of empathize with him because I've been there before. And I've taken calls where I was a prospect while I was driving a truck. So it was very, very familiar to me. And I just moved through and I obviously made sure that the logistics made sense, right? I was like, hey, are you far from your destination? How long? Made sure all those things, because obviously, like, he's not going to pull his card out and make a transaction while he's driving a semi-truck. That's obviously not realistic, nor safe, nor legal. So I made sure that the logistics were in place and that he was able to, he was going to be somewhere in a certain amount of time. And I also made sure, because I had a call scheduled, so we went the full about hour or so. I have calls booked, on an ideal day where I'm fully booked, I will have calls in each hour. So I had a call right after this guy. And so we went through the call, and I made sure that, at the very end, when it was time to hop on the other call, I was like, hey, because he was still driving. I'm like, hey, so how far are you from your destination now? He's like, 20 minutes. Now, I'm kind of going through the presentation, right? But I'm like, I obviously want to leave him with a little bit more, because if I bring up the numbers and all that, like, there's a good chance that I might not be able to get him on the second call. So I kind of get halfway through the presentation, and I'm like, hey, well, I know you're driving, so you can't really view, because I was sharing my screen. I was like, you can't really view what's inside because you're driving. But what I could do is we could just, whenever you get where you're at, because I do have to hop on another call, we'll just hop on our second call. It'll be quick. I'll kind of show you around, and if it does make sense, then, we'll get you signed up, okay? And so he was like, yeah, makes sense. I mean, he was all bought in, everything was smooth. And so I hop on the other call. That call went smooth. And then he texted me while I was on that call. He's like, hey, I'm free until this time. I'm free right now until this time. So if you can, like, would love to hop on that second call right now. Now, obviously, we're in the heat of the moment, so I'm like, absolutely. As soon as I get off this call, I take a 1-2 minute break just to refresh my mind, hop back in state, get on this call, finish up the presentation, and cover the investment, and it was smooth sail. So the big thing that I learned, because usually what we do is we're like, if somebody's driving, it's like, you gotta be somewhere, and that could cause a bit of an obstacle, right? for people, especially if there's nothing letting them know ahead of time that they need to be situated. But that also might trigger some sales resistance if they see on the Calendly link or on the booking, like, hey, you need to be situated. It's like, right? So I think that was a big thing, because had I not, and had I like made them find a time, like it could have, it could have lost the deal. And this was somebody, by the way, like aside from the deal and the money that was made, this was an ideal client for us. He really needed what was inside based off our conversation. He really could have benefited off of it. He had been through a lot in his life. And, what we sell is a communication program. And so he really needed it. And I'm super happy that I was able to help him, because, I'm always genuine when I say, like, hey, if this does not make sense for you, we're not moving forward, right? Like, I want to help you as best as I can. Otherwise, like, I can't feel good about what I do if I'm not being genuine, if this isn't really helping. Like, I'm not here to convince you to get into something that you have no interest in. I'm here to enhance your experience coming in. So that way, when you get started, like you're getting started on the right foot. I really want to set up the prospects for success. And as a good salesperson closer, that's literally your job. It is, you're doing people a disservice if you're not doing that. Like, even when people show up with their credit card ready, I'm like, hey, let's get you pumped up and fired up as much as possible. Let's cover like all the things, because yes, I mean, order taking is great, but I want to know that I made an impact in your life. Like, that's why I got into this game. I love actually genuinely connecting with people. I love genuinely helping people. And I also love obviously getting paid handsomely for it. So it's just something that if I could cover all those things, is a huge thing for me. And I imagine most of you are like this, right? Otherwise, you'd maybe be a sociopath, which, I mean, I don't know why you'd even make it this far into this video if that's you. But, so to sum that point up is sometimes, meet people where they're at. That's been my experience. Is meet people where they're at. Don't do things that are like, oh, we got to stay rigid and confined, because that could really kill a deal and lose money. I mean, you're leaving money on the table if you're too rigid and you're not willing to be flexible. It's like Bruce Lee said, you got to be like water. Take up the form, take up the shape in which the water's in. So let me know what questions I called you guys. What was something valuable, something insightful that you got from this video here? Or maybe you've had a similar case where you had somebody and you had to meet the person where they're at and just kind of smooth your way in it. Kind of finesse it. I don't know if that's the best word to use, but just kind of finesse it, right? Like, okay, this will work. I'll just move some things around for you. I want to make this. This is my mindset. This is literally my mindset. I want to make this as seamless as a process as I can for you. Because you know what I would want? I would want that. Hey, brother, I'm on the move. I got to drive. I got to take call. I got to go here. Got to go there. Like, if you can't make it seamless for me and you're going to make me sit down and find some time to sit at home and open, like, I don't know if that might be the best instance, because I know for me personally, my ego might get in the way. I might be like, dude, like, forget it. I'll just go somewhere else. So always serve at the highest level. Always serve at the highest level. Always, I'm saying this to myself as I'm saying this to you guys. But yeah, let me know what stuck out to you. What maybe some things that, maybe as you're listening to this, you might have thought about a call, or maybe even something that, an instance you had with another human where, you were being too rigid with your own way. And sometimes you just got to meet people where you're at. So that's my lesson for today, is be like water. Peace.